Let's talk about chlamydia. Chlamydia is the most common bacteria transmitted through sex, both worldwide and in the United States. Last year alone, there were 1.7 million reported cases of chlamydia in the United States, and over 1 million of those cases were in women. Up to 80% of women have no symptoms. Even in the absence of symptoms, chlamydia can cause infection of the reproductive organs, and it is a leading cause of infertility in women. We suspect that women who are most susceptible to repeated infections may also be most susceptible to the damaging effects of infection. Despite over a decade of routine testing, including in women without symptoms, and despite highly effective treatment options, the rates of chlamydia continue to climb every single year. For that reason, it is vitally important that we develop new methods in order to predict not only who is most at risk for chlamydia, but particularly who is most at risk for these repeated infections. Now, to me, statistics is a lot like walking into a dark room and then using science and math to turn on the light. My own research focuses on developing new statistical methods and mathematical models in order to predict these chlamydia repeat infections in women. Now, clinical guidelines for assessing chlamydia risk are centered on demographics, such as age and race, and behavior, such as the number of sex partners. We have found that of the women who come to our STD clinic and test positive for chlamydia, about 20% of these women will go on to have a repeat chlamydia infection within only 6 months. If we then compare these two groups of women, those with reinfection compared to those with the single infection, we find that there is no difference between the two of them in terms of demographics, and there is even no difference between these two groups in terms of behavior. Therefore, traditional models really leave us in the dark. My own model incorporates individual genetic makeups and how a woman's body responds to infection. For example, we have identified a specific genetic factor that is associated with risk for repeat infection. And we have identified a specific infection-fighting cell that is associated with protection against repeat infection. Therefore, we can begin to turn on the light. Now, if you take away one message from my talk, I really hope it's this. If you are sexually active, get tested. As much as I believe that my methods are the future for preventing a lot of devastating complications from chlamydia in women, there's still only one sure way to know your status. Thank you.